Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to Deep Dive. This is where we sift through, a whole stack of information articles, research, our own insights, and try to distill it into something genuinely useful, something impactful for you. Today, we're plunging into the, well, often pretty complex and sometimes, frankly, unsettling world of cybersecurity. We're going to look at it specifically through the lens of this really unique podcast. It's shedding some crucial light on Latin America's digital landscape, and it has a significant focus on Mexico.
Yeah, so our sources for this deep dive, we've got detailed descriptions of the Cyber Midnight Club podcast itself, a really thorough analysis of its Mexico-focused content, which is fascinating. And we've also got this deep look into the collaboration between its host, Alberto Daniel Hill, and a very prominent Mexican hacker, Héctor López. We even have an extensive interview transcript with López himself, which is quite revealing. So our mission today, basically to understand how this podcast, guided by these two creators, exposes that really intricate intersection of cybercrime, corruption, and digital culture, specifically in Mexico.
We want to get a handle on what those insights mean, not just for the region, but for the broader global conversation around digital security as well. You're about to get a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed on the topic that, honestly, touches on some of the most pressing modern challenges of our digital world. So yeah, let's jump right in.
Okay, so to set the stage properly, we really need to talk about the person who brought the Cyber Midnight Club to life, Alberto Daniel Hill. Now, Alberto's a Uruguayan cybersecurity expert and advocate, but he also has this deeply personal story that's just profoundly shaped his work. He's known for a, pretty extraordinary experience. He was wrongfully imprisoned. He was actually the first person in Uruguay to serve time for a cyber-related case. And this isn't just some historical footnote, right? It's a pivotal moment in his life. It was famously chronicled on that popular podcast, Darknet Diaries. I think it was episode 25.
That's right, episode 25. And that firsthand experience with the justice system, it really underpins his advocacy. You hear it in his voice and his approach. He pushes for fairness in cyber cases. And it absolutely fuels his critique of what he sees as systemic failures, within law enforcement, within technology governance. It gives him this powerful foundation for the whole podcast.
Exactly. What Hill's personal history does is transform what could be just a technical discussion into a very human story.
Yeah.
And that immediately sets Cyber Midnight Club apart, doesn't it?
Totally. It's not just a podcast about what happens in cybersecurity, but really who it happens to and why those human stakes actually matter. His experience makes him this fierce advocate, and it gives the podcast an authentic, advocacy-driven edge that, frankly, you don't always find in purely technical analyses.
Yeah, absolutely. So the podcast itself, it launched back in December 2018.
Correct. December 2018. And it's readily available. You can find it on Spotify, on its own website, cybermidnight.club. And it consistently explores these core themes: hacking, cybersecurity, cybercrime. It draws from this rich tapestry of real-world events, Hill's own personal experiences, and expert analyses. It creates a really comprehensive picture, actually.
What I find particularly smart about the show, and something that really amplifies its impact, is that it's bilingual. It's produced in both English and Spanish.
Right. And that bilingual approach, it isn't just about expanding listenership, simply reaching more people. It feels like a strategic move. It's almost like democratizing the global cybersecurity discourse. It actively ensures that Latin American challenges, Latin American perspectives aren't just like footnotes.
Yeah, they become central.
Exactly. They become central to the global narrative. So it positions the podcast as this critical platform for regional voices, addressing issues that are often overlooked or, underrepresented by the English-centric media.
That makes sense.
And the show's relevance, its foresight, it's also really evident in its consistent focus on emerging issues. They cover everything from historical incidents to digital privacy, the dark web, the societal role of AI.
Wow.
And these deep dives into regional cybersecurity landscapes. It constantly adapts, right?
Yeah.
Covering topics like digital control, free speech, even international conspiracies sometimes. It feels like they're consistently staying ahead of the curve in this, incredibly rapidly evolving digital world.
Okay, so if Alberto Hill sets that stage with his compelling backstory and the podcast's mission, who is the guy on the ground? Who's bringing those raw, sometimes really unsettling details from Mexico to the Cyber Midnight Club? Well, that would be Héctor López. Online, he's known as @HackerSoIAC.
Ah, yes, López.
He's a prominent Mexican hacker, and he's the visionary founder of OIHAC. That stands for Organización Internacional de Hackers y Expertos en Ciberseguridad, International Organization of Hackers and Cybersecurity Experts.
Got it.
His primary expertise, it lies in open source security, pen testing, which is basically Ethical hacking, right? Systematically finding and fixing vulnerabilities in computer systems.
Right, testing defenses.
Exactly. And he covers a broad range of Latin American cybersecurity topics. He seems to have a really bold self-perception, too. He confidently states that he considers himself among the top 10 hackers in Mexico.
Okay, that's a statement.
It is. But he's quick to clarify it's not just about raw technical skill, though he clearly has that. For him, it's more about his organization's prevalence, like the sheer number of conferences they host, the comprehensive courses they offer, and, importantly, their resilience in the market against what he calls these sporadic hacker groups that tend to pop up and then disappear.
So it's about lasting impact, institutional presence, not just individual skill.
Precisely. And OIHEEC's mission itself has evolved. They started out as Mexican ethical hackers, but they quickly expanded to international. They're actively recruiting talent from all across Latin America. He's mentioned having Uruguayans, Peruvians, Ecuadorians on his team.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he even highlighted one specific team member, Omar Torres, who apparently works with the Ecuadorian military. And of course, Alberto Hill, the host of Cyber Midnight Club, he's considered a key member of Lopez's network.
Okay, so this is significant. It really highlights Lopez's approach, not just as a hacker, but as an institution builder. That self-assessment, the top 10 hacker thing, maybe it isn't just ego then. It's about the measurable impact and the longevity of his organization, which honestly is a rare feat in a field often characterized by individual, fleeting notoriety.
Good point.
This kind of structure allows for a more sustained, a more systematic approach to ethical hacking and cybersecurity education. And that's exactly what many regions, particularly Latin America, desperately need to counter these growing, sophisticated cyber threats.
And Lopez's philosophy as a good hacker seems absolutely crucial to understanding OIHAC. He really emphasizes that they are not a shock group. They're not focused on attacking government portals or causing chaos.
No, it's not their game.
Right. Instead, they play this conciliatory role. They frequently report vulnerabilities to the authorities, and they actively promote ethical hacking.
Yeah.
It's a stark contrast to that common media portrayal of hackers, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Lopez really seems to embody that ideal of an ethical hacker. He uses his, formidable skills for advocacy, for education, and that is absolutely crucial in regions like Latin America, where the cybersecurity infrastructure, the public understanding, it might still be, nascent.
Still developing, yeah.
Exactly. His emphasis on reporting vulnerabilities rather than exploiting them, while it's admirable, it often ends up highlighting a systemic issue, right? Which is the unaddressed digital weaknesses by authorities. He brings these issues to light, which is exactly what the Cyber Midnight Club aims to expose, that often indifferent response from institutions that just leaves digital systems vulnerable.
And this seems particularly important for his primary aim with young aspiring hackers. Some, he says, are as young as 15 or 16. He wants to organize them, incentivize this new talent, basically redirect their powerful curiosity and raw ability away from that common misconception that hacking is only about stealing or attacking. He wants to guide them towards constructive, beneficial paths.
That's a critical mission. Mentorship in this space is huge.
And his recruiting strategy is quite unique, too. Lopez seeks out mature, skilled individuals, not just employees filling a role. He even mentioned someone named Rama, who apparently works for Israel's security and intelligence. That really shows the caliber and the global reach of his network.
Yeah, it does. That approach to team building, focusing on shared skills, a constructive philosophy, it completely challenges that pervasive lone wolf hacker stereotype we always see. It points to the immense power of organized, ethical cybersecurity efforts in a world that increasingly relies on digital security. It's really a model for collective good, showing how collaboration can amplify impact far beyond what any single individual could achieve.
Okay, now let's zero in on Mexico, because this is where that dynamic collaboration between Hill and Lopez truly, truly shines. Hector's on-the-ground perspectives are absolutely central here. He covers everything from data leaks and narco influences to these, mind-bending conspiracy theories.
Yeah, the Mexico stuff is intense.
It is, and these insights provide this critical layer of authenticity, of detail, that would otherwise just be impossible to get. It's really clear that Mexico-specific topics make up a significant chunk, maybe 20–30%, of recent Cyber Midnight Club episodes. They're exploring that intricate intersection of cybersecurity, organized crime, political corruption, and digital culture in Mexico.
It's a complex mix.
Definitely. Take, for instance, one of the standout themes they've explored, narco-influencers.
Yeah.
Mexico's corrupted landscape.
Yeah.
This episode, which they released in both English and Spanish, it vividly describes how narco groups have learned to leverage digital platforms for influence. And we're not just talking about traditional narco corridos, those drug ballads glorifying cartel life.
Although they touch on those too, I bet.
They do, yeah. But no, this extends much further. We're talking advanced social media strategies, digital extortion, sophisticated propaganda campaigns aimed at controlling narratives, even recruiting new members.
Wow, it's evolved way beyond music.
Way beyond. The episode even references specific websites, like narcopoliticos.com, as sort of evidence of this corruption. And it highlights hashtags like #NarcoGobierno de Morena.
Which translates to
Narco government under the Moreno Party, which is Mexico's current ruling political party.
yeah.
And crucially, the episode specifically tags @HackerSoIHack for his deep expertise on these very sensitive Mexican issues. It really confirms the critical role he plays in bringing these stories to light.
Okay, so this is more than just reporting then. It's really an expose. It lays bare how these sophisticated cyber tools become direct instruments for real-world violence, for recruitment, surveillance, and just widespread misinformation. It exposes Mexico's deep challenges, weak privacy laws, the vulnerability of its government systems. We're talking about situations where digital information can lead directly to, say, influencer murders or significant data leaks. It illustrates this truly corrupted landscape where cartels operate with alarming digital proficiency.
It's chilling.
And that bilingual format for this episode, it's not just a linguistic convenience. It feels like a strategic move to amplify advocacy against this unchecked digital narco power, specifically within Spanish-speaking regions. It makes the message resonate directly with the communities most affected, transforming the podcast into potentially a powerful force for awareness and, hopefully a catalyst for change.
Now, speaking of those on-the-ground perspectives, there's one episode featuring Héctor López that truly stands out for its sheer intrigue. Jacobo Grinberg, PENTAGONO Y CHINA, Hacker EXPONE VERDADES. This is not your typical cybercrime story at all.
No, this one's different. What exactly did Lopez uncover about this mysterious disappearance? Linking it to, the Pentagon in China?
Yeah, it's wild. This collaborative deep dive, it exposes theories surrounding the mysterious 1994 disappearance of this Mexican scientist, Jacobo Grinberg. And it connects it to international intrigue involving the Pentagon and China. Grinberg, he was an academic from UNAM, Mexico's National Autonomous University, but he ventured deep into the world of spirituality.
Okay.
And here, he encountered figures like Pachita, this occultist who allegedly possessed the ability to materialize organs and perform healing surgeries with just like a basic knife.
Seriously, materialize organs.
According to the stories, yes. And his controversial research delved into things like past lives, remote viewing, automatic writing. He used mediums, even children, in his experiments.
Right, okay. This is getting into some strange territory.
Exactly. And Lopez theorizes that this extraordinary, almost unbelievable research made Grinberg a prime target. Why? Because of the profound potential for mind control and espionage that such abilities could potentially unlock.
Okay, I can see the motive there, if any of that is even remotely possible. Lopez frames it like a hacker, right?
Yeah.
Looking for anomalies, hidden connections.
Totally. The conspiracy theories around Grinberg's disappearance are truly mind-bending. Claims of U.S. and Chinese governmental involvement are central to the narrative.
Big players.
Huge. Connections are drawn to historical projects like the CIA's MK-Ultra, which notoriously explored psychological warfare and remote viewing for clandestine operations for side ops.
The CIA definitely dabbled in that stuff.
So from Lopez's perspective, he theorizes Grinberg was maybe attracted by the government, possibly even held captive. He uses the term like a Guantanamo if he didn't cooperate.
Wow.
He even cites evidence, supposedly CIA pages containing Grinberg's work, to support his claims, suggesting official interest. Lopez dismisses the more fantastical, elevated theory, the idea that he just transcended or something, finding it physically impossible.
Okay, so he's sticking to a more grounded, if still conspiratorial, explanation.
Right. And adding to the whole mystery, Grinberg's wife also disappeared shortly after returning from a trip with him. It just deepens the layers of this unsolved case.
Man, that's incredible. So this isn't just about a missing person. It's really about the intersection of science, spirituality, and national security.
Exactly.
And it really forces us to consider that complex intersection, doesn't it? It demonstrates how cyber investigations, especially when done by people like Lopez, who aren't afraid to challenge official narratives, can potentially uncover suppressed histories. Lopez's role in revealing these verades, these truths, it critiques institutional secrecy. It brings to light the uncomfortable reality of potential state intelligence agency operations that often operate outside public scrutiny. And the connection to global cyber geopolitics through Grinberg's story, that's profound. It highlights how Mexico's internal mysteries are sometimes deeply intertwined with international power struggles. It suggests that what looks like a local disappearance could actually have global implications far beyond its borders, involving powerful entities like the Pentagon, intelligence agencies. It's a reminder that not all battles are fought with, visible weapons.
Absolutely. And beyond these really specific episodes, the Cyber Midnight Club frequently features broader discussions on Mexican cyber leaks and this whole concept of narco-government.
Yeah.
Topics often cross-reference major events like the Guacamaya leaks. Those were huge, right? Exposed fentanyl trafficking under Mexico's former president López Obrador, directly involving powerful cartels like Sinaloa. These were massive government-level data breaches.
And that's really the crux of it, isn't it? These discussions vividly illustrate those narco-gobierno dynamics at play. You see digital vulnerabilities being exploited by organized crime and sometimes maybe even state actors themselves.
It blurs the lines.
Completely.
Yeah.
We also hear these chilling hacker testimonies that shed light on how cartels actively recruit tech experts for their illicit activities. They often use sophisticated open source tools like Kali Linux, Metasploit.
Standard tools.
Yeah, standard tools, but used for hacking crucial entities like SEDENA, the Mexican Defense Ministry. These revelations paint this terrifying picture. They show a clear link between cyber operations and real-world political violence, including things like candidate assassinations or even tracing narco routes connecting major Mexican cities.
Wow.
So the podcast, Through Hill and Lopez, it really champions ethical hacking as this crucial tool for accountability, right? For holding power structures responsible. But it also serves as this stark warning about the severe risks involved. It echoes Hill's own experience of wrongful imprisonment. It just underscores that volatile mix of technology, pervasive corruption, and the urgent, desperate need for robust cybersecurity education and comprehensive reforms throughout Mexico. It feels like a powerful call to action, not just for the public, but for governments themselves.
It's really clear that much of the power of the Cyber Midnight Club comes from this remarkable synergy between Alberto Hill and Héctor López. Their professional relationship, even their personal one, it's described as this strong, positive collaboration. It seems centered entirely on their shared goals, educating the public, exposing vulnerabilities, and actively combating cybercrime across Latin America.
Yeah, you can feel that mutual respect.
Totally. Hill frequently promotes López, calling him an eminence in Mexico and worldwide in cybersecurity. And López, in turn, consistently credits Hill for amplifying the vital content they create together.
It's a truly effective partnership. Hill brings that broad advocacy, that profound personal experience, the real-world consequences of cyber actions, right? While López offers those crucial on-the-ground insights and his formidable technical prowess. That combination is just incredibly effective at raising public awareness and promoting critical thinking about this complex web of cyber threats across Latin America.
And their collaboration extends way beyond just the podcast episodes. They jointly create articles, videos. Hill often credits López for providing critical info on Mexican narco issues or specific cybersecurity threats.
So they're co-creating resources.
Exactly. And this content gets widely shared. López frequently tags Hills in posts about hacks, data leaks, narco-politics in Mexico again, that hashtag narco-gobierno de Morena hashtag pops up, and various cybersecurity failures. Hill, naturally, amplifies this content to his own audience, ensuring maximum reach.
Their consistent collaboration, it demonstrates a highly effective model for how cybersecurity experts can actually work together to combat complex, often transnational cybercrime. They don't just talk about the issues, they actively co-create resources to address them. They also regularly plan and host live discussions, often on Twitter Spaces, right?
Yeah, I've seen those.
Delving into diverse cybercrime topics. Telegram scams, massive blackouts, WhatsApp hacking tied to Bitcoin thefts down in El Salvador. Hill frequently invites López to co-host, and they've even discussed plans for, weekly in-depth sessions. It indicates a real long-term commitment to their partnership.
And there are specific examples of their joint advocacy, too, like exposing government hacks in Uruguay, shedding light on cartel surveillance right in Mexico City, raising critical awareness about privacy concerns like Mexico's controversial Ley Espía, the spy law.
Which has huge implications for individual liberties.
Huge.
Ultimately, this collaborative approach, it benefits not just the cybersecurity community, but the public at large. It provides valuable insights and helps, safeguard digital lives. It really feels like a blueprint for collective action in this digital age.
Okay, now let's dive into some of Héctor López's raw, unfiltered insights straight from his interview. He truly pulls back the curtain, shedding light on the mechanics of cybercrime and the true, often misunderstood, nature of hacking. And he doesn't shy away from the big geopolitical topics either, starting with global cyber warfare, China versus U.S. López firmly believes China has the clear capability to hack U.S. systems, and he provides some compelling technical reasons for this belief.
Okay, laying it out there. What are the reasons?
Well, he highlights China's development of something called Killing OS. He describes it as this highly secure, anti-hackable operating system based on BSD.
BSD, okay.
Yeah.
Berkeley Software Distribution, known for being robust, customizable.
Exactly. So ideal for military-grade applications. This isn't consumer software we're talking about. It's positioned as a strategic national security asset. Beyond that, López points to China's cyber armies. These massive operations employing, he says, over 500 people, specifically for state-sponsored operations.
Wow, 500 plus nary, that's significant scale.
And these aren't just defensive forces. He claims they're actively involved in creating and deploying viruses to target countries like the U.S. He references those real-time cyber threat maps, the ones from Kaspersky or Fortinet.
Yeah, the ones that look like a global light show of attacks.
Right. And he says they show constant global attacks, not just from traditional war zones.
Yeah.
It indicates ongoing espionage and disruption from all corners of the globe.
So this is a critical observation then. It moves beyond just theoretical capabilities to active real-time engagement. It's a stark reminder that digital sovereignty is becoming just as crucial as traditional territorial sovereignty.
Good point.
And the contrast he draws between China's offensive capabilities and, say, Mexico's defensive gaps, it dramatically underscores that global cybersecurity divide. It really highlights the urgent need for countries, especially those in developing regions, to invest heavily in advanced cyber defenses, in talent development. Otherwise, they risk becoming vulnerable pawns in a much larger ongoing digital conflict. It's a real wake-up call for nations to prioritize their digital infrastructure as a matter of national security.
López also pinpoints what he sees as U.S. vulnerabilities. He suggests the U.S. relies perhaps too heavily on the Pentagon and the NSA. Their experts, while incredibly skilled, he argues, aren't exhaustive compared to the sheer scale of global talent out there.
Interesting perspective.
In contrast, he notes that Chinese hackers operate with this almost military-like discipline, attacking specific IPs without question, just following orders with precision. He describes the Pentagon as the U.S.'s supreme intelligence, military, national defense hub, obviously equipped with advanced tech. He even mentions miniature drones used in places like Afghanistan.
The tiny ones.
Yeah, capable of long-duration, stealthy surveillance, flying for up to 4 hours, capturing video and audio. Incredibly small, way beyond anything you see in commercial drone tech.
Okay, so acknowledging U.S. tech superiority in certain areas.
Definitely. And as for the NSA, López acknowledges it houses some of the best hackers in the world, specializing in telecoms, networks, software. However, he makes this striking claim. Russia, he says, is often cited as the only entity capable of truly dismantling American hackers.
Wow, okay. Bold statement.
Then he draws this stark comparison to Mexico's defense capabilities, which López vividly, maybe starkly, describes as a sticks and machetes approach.
Oof, that's a powerful metaphor.
It really is, illustrating this truly outmatched rudimentary defense infrastructure, unable to counter advanced U.S. drones like the NQ-9, which he says is undetectable, travels at 400 kilometers per hour, and is capable of destroying 5 or 6 city blocks.
So a massive capability gap.
Massive. Finally, he highlights China's tech lead in certain areas, too. He mentions TikTok as a spy tool that the U.S. government tried to ban but failed because it's just so pervasive, so addictive.
Yeah, that battle didn't go well for the ban proponents.
Not really. He also points to China's advanced AI, something called DeepSec, which he personally finds superior for coding compared to even widely used Western AIs like ChatGPT or Gemini.
Okay, DeepSec. Interesting. The picture Lopez paints is one of a rapidly shifting global power dynamic in the digital realm, then. It's not just about who has the most advanced weaponry anymore, but who has the most sophisticated digital infrastructure and, crucially, the most disciplined and numerous cyber forces. The idea of China's killing OS and their advanced AI like DeepSec suggests this concerted national strategy to achieve technological independence and dominance. And that has profound implications for global security, for economic competition. It's about securing future influence, not just present defense.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. Then Lopez takes us into the dark side of hacking, criminals and their modus operandi. And he really doesn't mince words here. He calls bad hackers criminals or crackers, and derisively, lamers.
Lamers, okay. That's old school hacker terminology.
He describes lamers as being below noobs because they often use pre-made software without truly understanding how it works. They're just following instructions without the underlying knowledge. He outlines their typical progression into crime. Austin starts small scale, right? Insignificant targets, like stealing Netflix accounts, Gmail, maybe WhatsApp cloning.
Stuff they can rationalize.
Exactly. They rationalize it by targeting large corporations, believing it's an insignificant crime against some entity that won't miss it. This is compounded by this ignorance of the law. Many believe, especially in Latin America, he says, that cyber laws are non-existent or just unenforced. They fail to realize that common theft laws still apply to digital assets, even if the method is electronic.
Right.
It's still theft. It's a stark reminder that the digital world doesn't exist in some kind of legal vacuum. And Lopez's point about lamers is crucial. True skill in cybersecurity isn't just about using the tools, it's about understanding the underlying mechanisms. That lack of fundamental understanding, combined with a misperception of legal immunity, that's often what sets these individuals on a path to greater criminal activity.
So their first earnings, he says, often come from buying bulk hacked accounts. He uses 50,000 Netflix accounts as an example from other hackers. Then they resell them on the deep web or even the surface web.
Arbitrage, basically.
Yeah. They often use untraceable payments like Bitcoin or Western Union. And they employ phishing techniques, phishing, basically, which, as he notes, are just everywhere, often targeting people with accounts they don't even have.
Yeah, those emails are relentless. Totally. This leads to this dangerous anonymity fallacy. They start believing tools like masks, the Tor network, external servers, that these provide absolute anonymity. Lopez says this is precisely what leads to their downfall, imprisonment, or worse, because they don't truly grasp the forensics involved.
They overestimate their own operational security.
Exactly. As they grow, they form these organized cybercrime groups. They start specializing in areas like credit card cloning, using MCRs, magnetic card readers. These are essentially small, covert skimmers used by, say, a waiter in a club to steal data from the magnetic strips of credit cards without the victim ever knowing.
Six skimmers.
They also specialize in WhatsApp hacking or renting out botnets for DDoS attacks, distributed denial of service attacks. He quotes Richard Clarke, who famously said, "Give me 10 hackers and I'll dominate the world in 10 days, just highlighting the power of coordinated cybercrime.
That quote always sends a chill down your spine.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
And their mastermind, this guy Cianuro, he even caused ATMs to just vomit money out in public, which, led to their exposure.
Yeah.
But ironically, Lopez says, that incident drastically improved Mexican bank security afterwards.
Unintended consequences.
Right. He even connected this same group, the Bandito Revolution team, to the Romanian mafia's card cloning operations down in Playa del Carmen.
Okay, so this isn't just lone wolf hacking at all, is it? What does this kind of organized transnational cybercrime mean for law enforcement trying to keep up?
It's a huge challenge. And Lopez's insights really highlight that the line between physical crime and digital crime is completely blurred now. You have sophisticated implants physically placed in hotel ATMs. That's a physical act facilitating digital theft.
Right, bridging the physical and digital.
For law enforcement, this requires a fundamental shift. You can't just hunt for hackers in basements anymore. You need to be tracking international crime syndicates that leverage technology as a tool. It's not just about the code, it's about the cash flow, the global connections.
Lopez's incredibly detailed breakdown of the criminal hacker's path, it's absolutely essential for understanding the life cycle of cybercrime, right? From seemingly trivial small-scale theft to these highly sophisticated organized operations.
Yeah, it's a whole ecosystem.
And that concept of lamers is particularly insightful. It highlights the critical importance of genuine technical skill and, crucially, ethical grounding within the cybersecurity community. It creates such a sharp contrast with those who merely exploit pre-made tools without true understanding. his insistence on discretion for the successful criminal hackers. That underscores the inherent difficulty of tracking truly sophisticated threats, and therefore the paramount importance of continuous vigilance and advanced forensic capabilities for law enforcement and cybersecurity pros.
So the profits from these illicit activities, they often lead to this lifestyle of luxury.
Right.
Ill-gotten gains used for expensive cars, fake IDs, often procured via the deep web. However, Lopez makes a key point. The successful criminal hacker operates with extreme discretion.
Low profile.
Exactly. Avoiding ostentatious displays, living a seemingly normal life to evade detection. The downfall of many bad hackers, he says, often stems from internal conflicts. He colorfully calls it a war of skirts. Meaning internal rivalries, often driven by personal animosities or just inflated egos. These frequently lead to betrayals and the downfall of these groups. He gives that specific example again, the Bandito Revolution team, caught in León, Guanajuato, not really for the hacking itself, but for organized crime, for fraud. Their mastermind, Cianuro, caused those ATMs to vomit money in public, which led to their exposure, and again, ironically, drastically improved Mexican bank security.
Gotta love the irony.
He also reveals that the Bandito Revolution team collaborated with the Romanian mafia, specifically the Tudor family down in Playa del Carmen, who used those physical implants in hotel ATMs for card cloning. It just paints this vivid picture of the sophisticated, interconnected world of organized cybercrime, far beyond what many might imagine.
It really is a roadmap for both understanding and combating these evolving threats, because it shows the human element, the ego, the rivalries, just as much as the technical side. And that combination is often what unravels these sophisticated operations.
Okay, so moving on to a more positive light, Lopez then defines the true hacker: skills, ethos, and impact. For him, true hackers are constructors.
Constructors. Okay.
Yeah, akin to the creators of software, the internet itself, or innovative devices like the iPhone. They embody this profound curiosity and, crucially, a very high tolerance for frustration. He jokes about spending 7 hours on a problem until it's solved just to see if he can.
The puzzle solver mentality.
Exactly. Their ethos, unlike the egocentric criminal hackers, is driven by a philosophy. He mentions Eric S. Raymond's ideas, originating from legendary institutions like Berkeley and MIT. It's not driven by personal gain from malicious acts. Pioneers like Richard Stallman, Linus Torvalds, those are his role models, people who built rather than destroyed.
The builders versus the breakers.
Precisely. And the essential skills for a true hacker, according to Lopez, are rigorous. First, extensive reading, especially in English, because so much of the foundational knowledge in cybersecurity is in English.
Makes sense.
Second, proficiency in a vast array of programming languages. He claims to know between 27 and 35.
27 to 35. Wow.
Yeah. Ranging from web-focused PHP to compiled languages like C and C++ for applications and low-level hardware interaction using assembler, all the way to modern languages like Python, Ruby, Rust, Go. He's actually critical of what he calls new school hackers who only know Python. He really emphasizes the need for a broader understanding.
Deep foundations are key, not just the flavor of the month language.
Right. Understanding assembler, that machine language that allows direct interaction with hardware, that's also key. It enables programming robots or specialized chips. Fast typing, fluency in technical lingo terms like injection, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, that's important too. Though he notes that communicating in lead speak, substituting letters with numbers and symbols.
Like H4CK3R for hacker.
Yeah, that's becoming kind of old school now.
What Lopez is describing here, it's not just technical proficiency. It's a deep, almost philosophical commitment to understanding systems from the ground up. This commitment to foundational knowledge, rather than just surface-level tool usage, that's what truly separates the constructors from the lamers he was talking about earlier.
And finally, true hackers possess strong hardware knowledge, the ability to build and upgrade powerful computers. Lopez describes building this absolute monster PC, Core i9, 128 gigs of RAM, multiple high-end GPUs like NVIDIA RTX.
Okay, serious firepower.
Serious. Capable of rendering a 1-hour 4K podcast in just 15 to 20 minutes. He says it cost around 150,000 pesos, which is about 8,000 USD. Just illustrates the kind of computing power a true hacker commands.
Wow, that's almost enough to make me want to try a new career in high-speed video rendering.
Yeah.
But seriously, this really drives home that the tools of a true hacker aren't just about breaking things. They're about commanding incredible computational power to build or understand things, often at a really professional level. It completely dismantles that media stereotype, right? The hacker in a dark room with just a basic laptop. This really challenges you, the listener, to reconsider the true definition of a hacker. A builder, a problem solver driven by curiosity rather than that common media portrayal of just a malicious actor.
Yeah, it's a different picture.
Lopez's strong emphasis on deep technical knowledge, a broad understanding of programming languages, it highlights the foundational expertise truly required to not just understand, but also to secure complex digital systems. This deep knowledge sharply contrasts with the superficial understanding of those lamers he described. It underscores that true mastery in cybersecurity is about creation and protection, not just exploitation. It's really a fundamental shift in perspective.
Okay, let's bring this fascinating conversation back down to earth a bit. How does all this impact you in your daily digital life? Let's start with securing your phones and devices. Lopez is really clear on this. No phone is completely secure, period. While iPhones might offer, he estimates, about 70% more security than Android, they are by no means impregnable.
Right, security isn't absolute. It's always a spectrum. What Lopez highlights is that constant cat-and-mouse game between those trying to exploit vulnerabilities and those trying to protect devices. Even a highly secure phone is still a target if the right resources are applied against it.
He points to alternative secure phones, like something called Silent Phone, and these custom OS phones that offer superior security, specifically against government-sponsored malware like Pegasus. He says Pegasus simply wouldn't run on their specialized hardened systems.
So there are more niche options for high security needs.
Exactly. But he also reveals how even standard security can be bypassed. Even iPhones, he says, can be unlocked using specialized chips from China, which he claims cost about 12,000 pesos, roughly $650 USD, and software like Con Boot, which can apparently break Windows and Mac passwords, including online ones.
Wow, okay, so physical access combined with specialized tools is still a major threat.
Huge. Even iCloud accounts, he explains, can be bypassed through sophisticated phishing techniques or actual physical manipulation of the device itself. Encryption, as you'd expect, matters immensely. Lopez highlights advanced standards like AES, the one used by the U.S. Department of Defense. But then he chillingly explains how specialized hardware, capable of processing 1 million passwords per second,
1 million per second.
can crack a 10-digit password in just 15 to 20 minutes.
Man, that really makes you reconsider your personal digital security choices, doesn't it? Are you truly aware of the actual security of your device beyond what the marketing campaigns might tell you? Lopez's insights remind us that convenience often comes at the cost of security. True protection requires conscious effort, informed decisions. It forces us to confront the reality that even the strongest encryption has a time limit against dedicated computational power.
But he does offer practical advice, too. He recommends using a secure free app called Prey, P-R-E-Y, on both iPhone and Android. Apparently, it prevents remote shutdown if your phone is stolen, which helps you track it.
Oh, that's clever. Anti-theft measure.
Yeah. And for online banking, his best security measure against card cloning. Use virtual cards, the kind that generate a new, unique number for each purchase you make.
Right, single-use or limited-use numbers.
Exactly. So even if the virtual card details are stolen from one transaction, they're useless for any subsequent one.
These are simple, actionable steps that can dramatically improve your personal security posture. It really brings home the idea that while, yes, high-level cyber warfare is happening, there are everyday vulnerabilities that we can and absolutely should address. It pushes you to ask, are you adopting virtual cards for online purchases? Are you truly putting in the effort to protect the devices that hold so much of your personal life?
Good questions. Finally, let's talk about the power and peril of AI. A topic Lopez explores with some really deep insight. He's personally tested that Chinese AI, DeepSec, and found it capable of writing complex code in various languages. He suggests it can indeed program for humans.
Okay, so AI writing code, that's a big one.
Huge. This leads him to a strong belief that AI will replace many human activities, especially repetitive tasks like accounting. He thinks it'll do them much faster and more efficiently than humans ever could. But AI isn't just about job displacement for him. He also sees it as this incredibly versatile tool. He says AI can act as a psychologist or even a legal advisor, responding to personal or legal questions with relevant constitutional articles. It demonstrates its broad, if maybe impersonal, utility.
This isn't just about what AI can do, though. It's about what it means for us. The discussion on AI isn't solely about job loss. It's about a profound shift in how we create, consume, and even trust information and tools. The dual nature of AI as both a beneficial assistant and a potential weapon demands critical awareness from every single user. His personal anecdotes, about using AI for legal or psychological advice, they make the abstract concept of AI's power incredibly relatable and, frankly, maybe a bit unsettling. It highlights the blurring lines between human and artificial intelligence in our most personal decision-making. It really challenges us to consider our relationship with these new intelligences.
Definitely unsettling. However, Lopez also delves into the darker AI capabilities. Beyond the public AIs we know, like ChatGPT, he warns there are specialized AIs running on powerful private computers that can generate code for malicious purposes.
Like what?
For example, designing algorithms for bombs or for system disruptions, tasks that public AIs are specifically programmed to refuse.
Okay, so weaponized AI code generation, that's terrifying.
It is. He also notes that even these public AIs can be tricked or bypassed using techniques called prompt injection. Essentially, you craft a specific, clever input to manipulate the AI into giving information it's programmed to refuse or censor.
Finding the loopholes in their programming.
Exactly. He even muses on AI's vast knowledge, hinting at the concept of technological singularity, that point where AI could reach a level of intelligence far beyond human comprehension.
And this is where the peril truly lies, isn't it? The ability to prompt inject a public AI to bypass its ethical safeguards, or the very existence of private AIs designed for nefarious purposes. It suggests a future where the lines between what's helpful and what's harmful become increasingly blurry. It makes us ask, if AI can write malicious code or serve as your therapist, are we gaining unparalleled power, or are we inadvertently ceding too much control to the intelligent machines we create? And what responsibility do we, as users, have in understanding, questioning, and ethically navigating this increasingly complex digital frontier? #outro.
So what does this all mean? We've journeyed through these really intricate layers of Mexico's digital underbelly, guided by the profound insights of Alberto Daniel Hill and Héctor López. From cartel cyber influence pervading social media to those mind-bending conspiracies surrounding disappeared scientists and the stark realities of global cyber warfare. It's abundantly clear that the digital frontier is simultaneously a battlefield, a marketplace, and this vast repository of both verifiable truth and, well, insidious deception.
It's a complex space, no doubt.
We've seen how dedicated individuals like Hill and Lopez are working tirelessly, often at great personal risk, to expose vulnerabilities and educate the public. Their ethical approach really stands out as a beacon in a world that's unfortunately rife with lamers and sophisticated cybercriminals who exploit technology purely for personal gain. But what truly stands out from this deep dive, I think, is the constant, relentless evolution of this digital landscape. From the advanced, almost invisible drones of the Pentagon to the potential mind-reading capabilities once explored by Jacobo Grinberg, and now the increasingly sophisticated, omnipresent power of AI in our daily lives, transforming everything we do.
Yeah, the pace of change is staggering, and it really forces us to consider, you, the listener, how much of our reality is truly visible to us. If the digital world is so deeply intertwined with both international intrigue and local corruption, what hidden truths might still be waiting out there, waiting to be exposed by those brave enough to hack the system for good, to peel back those layers of secrecy? And as AI gains the power to write malicious code or even serve as your personal therapist, are we gaining unparalleled power, or are we inadvertently ceding too much control to the intelligent machines we create? What responsibility do we as users actually have in understanding, questioning, and ethically navigating this increasingly complex digital frontier? It leaves you with a lot to think about.
It really does. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this exploration empowers you to look at your digital world with a new, more informed, and perhaps, a more critical perspective.